Well, folks, today we need to discuss treason. As many of you may have heard, General Mark Milley has recently come under fire in Bob Woodward's new book, revealing that General Mark Milley basically committed treason against the President of the United States and made calls to China saying that they would tell them classified information to prevent an unstable Trump from using nukes. Now, this is a big story, folks, but definitely one worth commenting on. In other news, GOP's Larry Elder predicts a defeat in California, blaming, well, fortification of the California election. I want to talk about Gavin Newsom and the recall election and some of the stories we've been hearing. In other news, the Taliban thanks America for $64 million. What did I tell you, folks? Joe Biden basically gave the Taliban all that money. But we're going to talk about all that and more, but before we do, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for updates for future content, and if you like this content, share the video with your family and friends and on social media. And now a quick shout out to my sponsor. All hail the Carrion King. Introducing a new high fantasy novel about a fairy tale world, a paradise corrupted by the Carrion King. A mysterious jester seeks to defy the Carrion King and end his reign. If you like fantasy novels, bards, and stories about eldritch evil, then buy the book All Hail the Carrion King, now available on Kindle and paperback, by clicking the affiliate link down below. Get your copy today. And we're back. So, let's talk about treason. General Mark Milley took secret action to secure nukes from a so-called unstable Trump. Now, many of you may be familiar with Mark Milley. He's the woke general, right? That's been, sucking progressive fingers, let's just say, and being really cringe.
I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
Just stop. Just stop it.
Here on the Daily Mail, it says, Chairman of the Joint Staffs of Staff Mark Milley took a series of extraordinary actions after the January 6th Capitol riot because he was concerned with an unstable President Trump who might undertake military action in a desperate bid to stay in office, blah, 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 blah. This is all according to Bob Woodward's bombshell new book, but it goes to show that major treason was committed. And folks, may I remind you that treason, well, it is a very capital punishment. What he did was absolutely disgusting. You cannot undermine the President of the United States. Now, this article goes on to mention the fact that Mark Milley and many others were afraid that Trump was going to try to stay in power after the election debacle. And let's be honest, you still have, according to polls, like half of the country who do not even believe our elections were, how do I put this, fair, and believe the election was fortified by a global elite cabal of highly rich, influential individuals and whatnot. But speaking of elections, because that's what this is all about, I want to talk to you about GOP's Larry Elder. So Larry Elder is currently running against Gavin Newsom. Here's the thing. Gavin Newsom was being recalled as governor because he sucks. He's legitimately the worst leader that California has ever had. He's incompetent. I mean, he's a Democrat and California's deep blue. Now, it's looking like now, according to the media, that Gavin Newsom might actually win his recall bid. In other words, the bid to recall him as governor will likely fail. I hope it doesn't fail. In fact, I think that it's a very tight race and Larry Elder needs more voters, so he did this hashtag campaign, hashtag vote yes, recall Gavin Newsom. Here on the Daily Mail, headline, sound familiar? GOP's Larry Elder predicts defeat in California recall election and blames fraud and calls for investigation, hours before polls even close. Now, normally, any politician can say, well, this was rigged, or, they cheated. Anyone could say that, but this is happening after recent reports that Republicans in California who are trying to vote in this election, in this recall thing, well, they couldn't vote because they were told that they had already voted. Sound familiar? So here it says, Republican Larry Elder appears ready for defeat in Tuesday's gubernatorial recall election in California and is preparing for the next step, fighting the results with the website that declares Governor Gavin Newsom has already been reinstated. Elder's campaign launched a, quote, Stop California Fraud website that asks his supporters to include incidents of voter fraud and sign a petition to investigate the election results. Now, as far as I know, there's no proof of this. Larry Elder is asking for people to watch out for any fraud, which is perfectly fine and dandy in my opinion. If it's a fair election, then it's a fair election. They won't catch anybody. However, here's my problem. In California, you're allowed to print your own ballots. Pretty sure you don't need more than your personal information. So let me ask you this. Personal information in America has been leaked before. Heck, wasn't it just not so long ago that AT&T got the personal information of millions of paying customers, including social security numbers? I wonder how many of those people were Californians. This is the problem with mail-in ballots. You don't know who these people necessarily are. That being said, the polls are not looking good. You know, whether you trust the polls is another question. Now, I want to jump over here to this story. When Biden announced proudly that they were giving $64 million to Afghans as humanitarian aid, this money is going to the Taliban. Well, guess what? The Taliban just came out saying, "Thank you, America, for all that money. Please give us more." Headline: The Taliban thanks America for $64 million as part of a $1.2 billion international aid package, but says the U.S. should have a heart as it pleads for more. Acting Foreign Minister Amar Khan Muttaqi said that money would be spent wisely. Oh, yes, they'll spend that money wisely, oppressing women, oppressing minorities. What a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm being sarcastic, just so you know. It just makes me so angry. All the homeless people in America, all the people facing eviction, all the people who lost their jobs. Screw America. Let's give money to these foreigners. Yeah, and there's people out there, Democrats, who will say that America First was a mean and bigoted slogan. Are you kidding me? America First is not controversial. It's common sense. This is why populism is important. This is why nationalism is important. I'm tired of this garbage. Is anyone surprised? All this money is just going to the Taliban. It is nothing more than a payoff, than a bribe by an incompetent buffoon, Joe Biden, geriatric fool, who's giving away money, our tax dollars, to these cretin. And let's talk about taxes, baby. Because guess what? Biden administration and the Democrats, well, they're gonna raise $2 trillion in tax increases, baby. And you're gonna foot the bill. Here on Politico, $2 trillion. 40 plus tax increases. A rundown of House Democrats' tax plan. Here are 6 things to know about the plan. Now, I'm not gonna go through this whole article, but I am gonna highlight some of the points. Basically, in order to pay for the $3.5 trillion reconciliation package, which includes the infrastructure bill. So here it says that House Democrats this week are moving forward with their long-awaited plan to raise taxes to help pay for the next big spending package with more than 40 separate tax increases, collectively worth $2 trillion. Ooh, nothing like the government stealing your money. This would be the largest tax increase in decades. Literally. Lawmakers want the money to fund plans to greatly boost benefits, including pre-K programs, Medicare, and more communism, basically. But Mr. Obvious, it's democratic socialism. Ah, yes. Communism by another name. You know, what's so funny is that Democrats literally think that, well, rich people will simply pay for this. No, they won't. You will. And Biden goes out and he lies and he says, people making under $400K a year will pay less tax. No, they won't. They're going to pay more tax. You want to know why? Because if you taxed 100% of the wealth of the richest 1%, you would only have like $600 to $800 trillion max. Not even 1 trillion. So where's the other 1.5 trillion coming from? Oh, you guessed it. The middle class. Give me a break. And now for our last story of the day. I want to talk a little bit about AOC. Many of you may have heard about that tax the rich dress she wore. Oh, yes. Here on Twitter with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The medium is the message. And you can see here, she's wearing this designer dress that says, tax the rich. Well, she is the rich, but never mind that. She went to this fancy event with other celebrities and rich people. It cost $30,000 a ticket. Apparently she got in for free because somebody gave her basically a free ticket or whatever. Yeah, so I'm so sick and tired of these rich elites LARPing about being revolutionaries who want to tax the rich. But what will taxing the rich actually do? Well, when the Democrats put in all these new taxes, first of all, the middle class will take a hit. There's just not enough money to go around. They will target the middle class. That's why Joe Biden is talking about, in his bill, in this big bill that Democrats want to pass, going after poor people, giving the IRS power to spy on anybody for moving $600. They'll be able to spy on your PayPal, your Venmo, on your cryptos, on your stocks, on everything. Why do you think they're doing that? Because they're coming after you for the tax. You will get taxed. The rich will not. I really like the following tweet here. Bulwark says, the same people who LARP about a Hunger Games style revolution are now cooming over a celebrity event where the 0.01% parade around in clothes that cost more than a normal person's yearly salary during a pandemic and economic crisis that ruined thousands of lives. And then they post this picture from the movie Parasite. This is a really good post for a lot of reasons, but Parasite is actually the perfect allegory for this. For those of you who don't know, Parasite is a Korean film where a very poor family basically weasels their way into working for a very rich family. They're a poor family, so it really shows you the disparity between the poors and the rich, elitism versus the peasants. This is a perfect example of parasites. The rich elites going to these fancy events in these ridiculous dresses. They are the rich people. They are the elite. You are the peasant. But that, my friends, is merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? Let me know by commenting down below in the comment section. As always, support the channel by joining me on Patreon or Subscribestar. This channel is currently not monetized. It's supported by viewers like you. Joining will give you access to a private Discord server, Fight Club. It's private and exclusive, so be sure to join. Anyhow, thanks for watching the video, folks. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you all next time.